What's up, gamers? Real quick before the episode starts, I just wanted to take a moment to plug our Discord. Reason being is we want to connect with y'all and we love talking about LCS. And if that's you and you want to join in with us and talk about all the games and all the action, all the players, maybe trash talk other regions, maybe trash talk other teams, then join our Discord. I'll put the link in the description and maybe I can do one of those card things. We'll see if I can figure it out. But again, thank you for your support. Tell your friends and enjoy the episode. Peace.
Now, here's your hosts, the League Dad, Kevin, Mitchell, and Alistair.
What's up, gamers, and welcome to another episode of the All In Podcast. I am the League Dad, and I am joined, as always, by my friends and co-hosts, Kevin, Mitchell, and Alistair. It's so good to see you guys. Lots of stuff to talk about. It's always fun talking League. Honestly, like, this is one of my favorite nights where we just get to, virtually sit down together and talk about the games because it's so, it's, like I said, there's only 2 international tournaments. We've talked about this. And so when it's happening, man, you just got to soak it up. And that's what I'm doing right now. But before we get into all the action, give us a quick update on what's going on with you guys. How are y'all?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. The games were fun. I actually, sometimes just woke up in the middle of the night. Like, I went to sleep early, woke up in the middle of the night, and just watched some of the games. Like, sped through the bad ones, but there's some really good games out there. And also, I'm taking care of a cat now. She's right there.
Nice.
There. So she's just wrapped up in the blanket.
What's her name?
Poyo.
Nice. I like that name. Poyo.
Poyo. Nice.
Yeah, Poyo.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm pretty tired. I had another 1,000-mile trip to get back home for the summer.
Man.
So I have a 2-week break until I have another 1,000-mile trip to LA for a top 8 of CLOL. But other than that, I got to watch MSI on the road, so could have been worse.
I could see you've returned back to the Batcave. It is.
Yeah. Back in
where's
Canada,
the
back in
duck
void.
picture, man? Is it still back there? I don't.
No, I brought it with me to school. It's
Ah,
still in,
okay.
South Carolina.
Okay. Sweet.
Nice.
All right, cool, man. Great to hear that.
That's cool. I also did some moving. I finally moved to Seattle, so that's where I am right
Oh,
now.
nice.
I'm in
Nice.
Seattle at my dad's place. It's pretty nice. Yeah, the internet's pretty good, but I do need to set up an Ethernet cable because it's a little laggy still sometimes. But
I hear you.
yeah, it's nice up here. Yeah.
Nice. And I think you were saying you were gonna start a coding boot camp. When is that started up?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm gonna be starting that in about 2 weeks or so. So I'll be pretty busy with that. But still have
That's
plenty of
awesome,
time
man.
to play video games. Yeah, never too busy.
Yeah, I'm glad that you have
Play
this
some
time
League.
off. I'm glad you have this time off because it means I get somebody to play ARAM with while I'm being distracted at work. So thank you for being my ARAM buddy. But look, we're here to talk about MSI and our boys. EG, we did it. We made it. Top 4. I think pretty much as expected. Thankfully, we didn't drop any teams to the lower regions, and we did get that nice cherry on top by beating T1. But again, I think overall my impressions of EG is pretty much where we all thought that they would be. I mean, I think everyone pretty much everywhere figured EG to be, 4th. And that's kind of where they ended up. No more, no less. I think it's been good for our boys to get practices. I mean, they got reps in now against some of the best teams in the world, getting to go against Faker. And I've even seen Faker talking about JoJo and saying that he plays aggressive and can't wait to see him, play some more. So that's exciting stuff. I'm proud of our rookies, even though we've had some hard times like Danny. But hey, it's part of the learning experience. I kind of don't mind. And we've seen him, had a little pop-off moment with a Samira. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, I think he's, it's been a pretty good time for EG. And let me just get your overall thoughts about them through this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of them for not dropping a game to a lower team. Like, PSG, especially the LMS region, has just taken games off NA in the past. Just like it was like Machi in the past, or Flashwalls, or I mean, Flashwalls still is less egregious because they were actually a very good team. But I'm just proud of them. They 4-0'd Order, which is like, again, not a small deal. Pentanet.gg, which was like actually even more jank than Order, beat the Cloud9 super team with like perks on it, right? So yeah, it's not a small deal to win 4 games in a row. You like challenger players will like a challenger team can lose to like a mid diamond team sometimes. Like just people have off games. It's actually hard to win 4 games in a row there and then 4 games in the Rumble stage, right? So I'm really proud of them. I'm actually super impressed by JoJo, by the way. His trajectory throughout the tournament actually like very rarely do you see NA pros go overseas, scrim and like do do Korean solo queue and actually look better by a lot. Like you want them to look better, right? But JoJo is actually looking like he's learning game to game. It's actually crazy. His first game in the tournament versus Caps compared to now, like his Silas game, he looked insane. He looked better than Bjergsen has ever looked internationally. And I'm saying that as a Liquid fan with Bjergsen on my team, right? And he looked like basically like a really good Jensen game. Like I actually I'm really impressed by him.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm finally excited to see a NA pro who like doesn't lose confidence when he gets completely crapped on in scrims probably, because that's probably what's been going on for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think JoJo's stock has definitely gone up. I'm gonna be that guy. We're probably gonna see him on Liquid at some point, as long as he does well.
All right.
I'm gonna be that guy.
Oh, he needs to pay the bills. What do you want?
I mean, yeah, I bet we do have to. I am holding my judgment a little bit just because we've seen this before, where the rookie comes in, pops off, looks really good, and then the second year is a bit
tactical,
just off, and then they just don't perform from then on. They're pretty middling, so we have to see. Hopefully, JoJo doesn't do that. I mean, Danny is half following that trend, half not following that trend. Vulcan, I feel like he's not doing his best, but he's been at least not running it as much, which is good in certain games. But overall, I think EG's doing well. Honestly, they did better than I expected. I thought they tied for third, but they lost to the head-to-head. I think is how it works, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
G2. Yep.
Could have been worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely could have been worse. I thought they did actually play some pretty good games, even in their losses. Obviously, happy that they took care of business against the bottom teams. But there were some pretty solid, okay early games against RNG and G2, even though we never actually took a game. It felt like, I think, for most of them, except one of the RNG games, I think it was a later RNG game, where it felt like we could actually win, maybe. And things kind of started just falling apart pretty quickly, getting picked or maybe losing a skirmish here and there. And I really think that, yeah, a little cleaning up from Danny and Vulcan is still my main criticism, especially in the early Rumble stage games. I think the first game against G2, we were actually winning pretty hard, and Vulcan just got caught like 3 times in a row, and we just lost all of our objectives. Literally just lost 2 team fights, and then the game was over. So things like that could happen. I did like that, honestly. Also, we're not drafting terrible drafts that we have been seeing from some of the other teams. It feels like we always have like at least a solid, somewhat doable draft with team fighting capabilities. But God, some of the other drafts we've seen from the other teams, it's just like they draft TF and a bunch of skirmishers, and they can't team fight, and they start Baron T1, and they just lose. They just get out team fought. Against the team fighting comp. So it was nice to see that EG didn't do any of that stuff. It felt like we played all of our drafts sort of just like how you're supposed to play them. Didn't do any silly start Baron with the split push comp stuff. So I mean, it was good. I'm excited for the bracket stage, or for the best of 5 stage. That's gonna be hype. I think there's a statistic out there that every time an NA team has made it past whatever the group stage is, we actually make it to finals.
Yep.
We either don't make it past group stage or we make it to finals. So I guess we're making it to finals, guys. Yeah. Congrats.
That's a little copium or hopium. But
hey, we beat a stronger IG last time around with Liquid. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
And G2 was against SKT on the other side. Y'all, the script is getting a little old, guys.
Yeah.
That looks pretty good to me, man. Looks pretty good to me. Impact against top laners. Yep.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Impact's back again.
I mean, I guess, we've learned, what I like is that we've learned from this team and seeing kind of a little more of a side to them that I don't know if we saw completely in the regular season because they kind of sucked through most of it, and then didn't pop off until playoffs, right? And then so it kind of felt like MSI was a little like relearning them again because they had their slumps, and then we did kind of see them grow in the tournament. So I think even in their losses, like you guys have alluded to, they looked good at some points. There were legitimate times where I was like, hey, we could actually win this, and then they just kind of make an error, and then it seems like things just kind of fall apart. I do think Vulcan is even watching towards the later games in this stage, he was whiffing a lot of things. I mean, and he kept throwing up the emo, and I was like, bro, it's funny the first time, but like you're missing a lot of stuff. So
at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think Danny for sure has to work on stuff, but he's a rookie. He kind of gets a little bit of a pass. Whereas Vulcan, I'm like, dude, they kind of need your veteranship here. That's your role. Like you should be smart enough to make the right engages. Also good enough to not miss as many things as you're missing. So my harshest criticism has to be towards Vulcan, I think. I really have liked JoJo, really have liked Inspired. I think Inspired, I was kind of doubting him a little bit through that regular season, but through the playoffs and through now, I'm a believer again. I remember why people were hyping him up so much coming from the LECs and MVP, So I'm excited for this team, and I don't know if we'll beat RNG. I guess we could talk a little bit about that. I was telling Kevin this before. I kind of wish that we would have been playing against T1 because they must not have watched or did their scouting report because they threw Baron twice against JoJo with a Jinx. Even when she's nerfed, for some reason that champ just still seems to do good, and T1 just throwing. Yeah, 50 HP nerf, but yeah, for whatever reason,
50 HP.
But for whatever reason, avoided like the plague. So I'm glad to see them pick up the win. I mean, what else are your thoughts as far as matchup goes? Because we are up against RNG, so you could talk about that or our matchups against any of the other teams because we saw different looks, different things. With G2, I don't know. I think they just have our style, like our number. They just know how to beat us. I don't know what it is. So you can talk about any of that and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so a quick rundown. We beat the lower teams. It was really consistent. Inspired did this back home. Like we knew this was gonna happen. And it just showed like how it's a big deal. We literally all we had to do was beat T1 once, and then those guys at the bottom, we almost outplaced G2. That's hilarious to me. And it shows what consistency does for you at an international tournament. If the format was a little different, it could mean even more because you don't get upset as much, right? So you don't fall into a terrible lower bracket. So good on them. Their matchup against T1, I was really proud of them. This is the first Jensen and Bjergsen have never beaten Faker, I think, is the stat. Ever. Not even like once in a best of one. JoJo did it in his first split.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I won't say it's just because of JoJo, but like that's still ridiculous. Like we've only beaten T1 a few times in history. Like I think CLG did it a long time ago, and I can't think of another time. So I'm so proud of them for that. Their matchup into RNG, honestly, it's a terrible matchup. I'm pretty sure like RNG's like their kryptonite. They're like, oh, we want a team fight, go lane, and the RNG's like, all right, I mean, let's do it, let's brawl. And then their matchup against G2, I think G2 has our number. It's been 6 matches, guys. I think they're the closest 6-0 I've ever seen. Like maybe only 1 or 2 of those matches were unplayable, but like even that last day, right? G2's on a 5-game loss streak, and we're like winning the early game. I'm like, oh my god, we can do.
No.
Once again, I'm glad we don't have to face them in a best of 5, but it would have been really spicy if we beat them in a best of 5. Like, what if we went 3-5 and went to finals against whoever else on the other side?
That'd be so awesome.
One could only hope.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sums it up pretty well. I don't expect. I know we made the jokes about the script, but I don't think EG's gonna do very well against EG. I do think that I think personally the reason that G2 kind of has our number is because I feel like those games boil down to the ego mid laners. Honestly, it's Caps and JoJo. Those are like the 2 of the most hyped players in the region, and I think Caps is just better. I think that's what it just boils down to. JoJo has shown a lot of improvement, but Caps is a veteran now. He has the experience. He's no longer the rookie coming in trying to show, and Caps is also grown up and gotten better with his veteranship. So I think that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, I also think a lot with the G2 EG matchup specifically, it's the bot lane. I think 3 out of 6 of those games were against Pyke support.
Yeah.
And I think we said it in a previous podcast. It does seem like we kind of struggle to deal with their Pyke. He just, I mean, the champ is OP. He just runs away, he never dies, right? But other than that, I think, yeah, I mean, it's rough looking into RNG, but is it any more rough than when we were staring down against IG? IG actually went 9-1 last group stage,
Mm.
and they looked like they were just gonna win the whole thing, right? Everyone was saying that tournament, T1 and G2 not looking that hot. I mean, TL actually beat G2 in their group also, and then it just completely flipped the script in playoffs. Actually, it was even in the first game, it looked like IG was going to win the game one against TL, and then Impact got a super clutch Nico route, and we just snowballed into a 3-1 series. And, I don't know, like, Bin is kind of reminding me of just a really crappy Shy who actually never won anything. Like, that
Mm.
dude is running it down so hard. I don't know. I think there's a chance. I'm not saying it's favored, right? But is it any more or less favored than I would say a TL versus IG? I don't know. It kind of feels the same to me. It honestly feels like RNG is playing worse, and Bin is even more of a tendency to run it down than the Shy did last year or last 2, 3 years ago, whatever it was. Um, every team has a liability, it seems like this MSI. I think Vulcan commented in an interview saying that the level of play at this MSI was quite lower than last year's
Wow.
and what he was expecting. And I totally agree. I do think that there's moments where you can see teams kind of turn their brain off, and maybe not to the entire team, but definitely specific players. I think we all know a couple of them. One is Gumayushi. That
Yeah.
dude's brain was either not there or it's been off for a while. Or Bin has been absolutely turbo, just he just goes in, man.
Mm-hmm.
1v4 5 times in a row. He doesn't stop going in. Um, and I don't see them slowing down. I don't see these trends of these players stopping, right? Like, so I do think that maybe we go into RNG and we still get stomped, but I think Bin's gonna keep doing the same thing. He's gonna keep jumping in and trying to 1v3, 1v4. And if we can capitalize on it, if we can play around it, and Impact has been known to really stabilize against these super ridiculous, hype, crazy making top laners. I mean, if Impact just doesn't fall into the trap, I mean, I think we have actually an okay shot, comparatively. I don't
Yeah.
think we're favored by any means, but comparatively to what NA's done before, I think we can do it. I don't think it's that bad.
I would give
So
EG a 15% chance of winning.
15, I would have given TL lower, so I'll take that.
Wow.
I think this is
That
better than
might
the
be a
TL
little
matchup.
generous, but
Yeah, I'll take 15%. That seems
I think it's
fine.
25, honestly. I think it's one
Yeah,
in four. If you play the specify four times, you should win once at least.
Yeah.
I don't know.
sure.
I agree with what Mitchell's saying about Bin, but at the same time, I could flip it and say the same thing about Danny and Vulcan.
Yeah,
I
sure.
want to
Especially
forget
more in
Gala
a bot
Ming against
centric.
our bot lane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
true.
Gala Ming against
Oh lord.
Vulcan and Danny. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty one sided. I think Gala and Ming are the best bot lane in the world right now,
Agreed.
and it's not Danny's meta. It feels like for the most part.
That's true.
And
The,
if
the,
Danny
the
wants to
dip,
play comfort, because like you still can play Jinx, I don't think they're gonna let him breathe because I don't think they can. I don't think there's a way that Gala and Ming don't punish it very well.
Yeah, and also the way with the draft works, it's really hard to actually take away Kaisa from Gala, right? Like there's so many things you actually want to ban and first prior that yeah, it is rough to take Kaisa away from Gala, and I think that's gonna be the main problem. If you do give Gala Kaisa, it's probably just GG. So they have to figure something out in that area. Um, yeah, and also that TL roster had double lift core GJ, right? Against Jackie Love and Baolan, which is just a much more even ADC bot
Mm-hmm.
and support matchup. This one is definitely much more lopsided. But hey, I mean, we got rookies, right? So maybe they just we still have the golden nugget of anything could happen. We don't know what they've done. They've never had a best of 5 in international. They could just become gods. We haven't seen it yet, so we still get to hold on to that.
Yeah, I think I do think that the weakest part of RNG, because I think actually RNG has been playing the best in the tournament. Obviously, they're first, but I actually think, to me, their level of play has been amazing despite top and jungle not being their strongest part. And I think my only worry is that with EG, yes, Impact may be able to win against Bin, and hopefully they punish that up there, but because it is more of an ADC meta, it seems like I think that's where the weight of us having a gap in the bot lane, like where Ming and Gala can just destroy us. I think that's heavily more weighted than having a gap up top with Impact and beating Bin. And so that's the only reason why I really want EG to win, but I just don't think it's going to happen. But I think RNG has played really well. I think T1, we were talking about this earlier, they were a team that nobody had really tested before, and so we couldn't see their weaknesses or anything. They did drop a couple of games during the regular season, but not really paying attention. And I think this stage woke them up a little bit. We got to see some of their weaknesses, and even in their interviews, they were like, "We thought we could beat everybody. We lost, and we were losing our confidence. But now we feel like we've got our feet under us." What are your thoughts on T1 and their gameplay and moving forward?
I am so glad I voted for RNG last week. I convinced myself halfway through. I didn't buy the hype. I was like, I'm so done with this. This Korean team is the best team in the world. This player is the best team in the world before they've even done an international tournament once. Like, how many times have I heard this crap? I think I could give Keria best player, best support in the world still after all of this. Everyone else, like even owner at times, like maybe not. It's like Zeus, whatever his name is, sat in a pink ward bush for like 8 seconds, clipped it twice, and then died in the EG game. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That was a win
Gumayusi
trade, baby.
is one of the most overhyped AD carries of all time. Like Name levels of like bad play, except he doesn't have an
Wow.
excuse of food poisoning, right?
Oh,
Like it's
God.
literally like everyone's telling me this guy's a god. I'm like, I saw him last year. Like he was good, but like he made a lot of imp plays, and I saw him in LCK. What happened in between then and now? Nothing. In fact, he looked like, this might be a hot take, he looked like the worst AD carry in Rumble stage. Period.
Wow.
I think Shogun was better. I think Unify was, and I'm not talking about peaks. I think Gumayusi on the last day actually had a really good game against RNG, right? But the problem is like there was 9 other games, and I think Shogun was better. Unify was definitely better. I think maybe Danny was worse, but it just depends on what you're talking about consistency. Danny made less dumb plays comparatively, and that's like saying a lot. Gumayusi made some of the dumbest plays I have seen this tournament, period, of the Rumble stage. And then obviously Gallo's better, and Flackett I think played better, period. Like overall, even though they did tilt at the end, right? So like it's kind of crazy. He's either 5th or 6th in my like power ranking if you're talking about consistency. So T1 were super overhyped. They were not the best team of all time, having never won an international tournament with this roster. Okay, like we should never ever have statements like this. If I see this crap again from the LCK, I'm just gonna be like, come on, guys. Come on. That being said, I think their ability to bounce back after like the really tilting things that happened to them and like the people they were losing to, like they lost to EG, guys. Like EG has only beat one major team, and it was T1.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like that's great for us in NA, but like that should be one of the most tilting things that happen. Like even in the lowest of lows of G2 going 0-5 in a row, they still beat us. Okay, so damn, T1 is I still think they might be weaker than G2, but we'll talk about that later.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I thought that us beating Faker, that's the pinnacle. We've won, in my opinion. We beat the GOAT.
Won MSI.
Yeah,
Y'all can pack it up.
I'm see, what they don't know is I'm already happy. Like I got my win. Whatever happens, it's just icing on the cake.
I don't know what to think about Gumayusi. I think that's the biggest question mark for me. Because I do think I do think he can be one of the best AD carriers in the world, but it's the issue of consistency that plagues him right now. I do agree with Kevin that he has definitely been on the bottom echelon of AD carries in Rumble stage, which I think is very disappointing. Because I mean, personally, as the resident AD carry player, that's the role I tend to look to the most, and I think consistency is the most important thing. I would rather have someone who can consistently do well than someone who can do really well, but also at the same time just single-handedly lose you the game. I think,
Yeah.
especially on an 80 carry, staying alive is the most important thing. And if you're making some XD plays, it doesn't look good. It does not look very
Yeah,
good.
leave the inting to the top laners, guys.
Yeah, leave that
Don't
to
try it at
leave
home.
that to your support. Let them die while you look good. Right? That's literally half of an 80 carry's job. You let them just full send it, and then you right click them hard. You right click the enemy team very hard, and you get
Yeah.
praised for
And
it.
you
I
get all
like
the
that.
honors too.
Yeah, you get all
Exactly.
the honors,
You
you
get
get all
all
the
the
pings.
honors. But like overall, like I think if Gumiusi can step up and stop playing like a clown, I think SKT still can win it all. But right now, I'm looking at RNG G2 in the finals.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to I think we're all in the same kind of like sentiment. It does feel like G2 is probably in better form. I mean, they both look like they're in really weird form. G2 had the weirdest. They won 23 or 24 games in a row. 23, 24. And then they lost 5 in a row. 2 of them to PSG Talon. That's just
Yeah.
so weird. But T1, like, did anybody see the Gumayusha inting montage? Did you see that?
Oh, I need to
No,
see
send,
this.
send, send it in the
What?
Discord. Send it in the Discord.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
Yeah.
send it in Discord after. I have to find it, but it was on Reddit. It was I think it was on the Chinese version of Reddit.
That's
It was the funniest thing
amazing.
I've
Oh,
ever seen. It was
I had
so
heard
funny.
about it. I hadn't seen it.
Just the music with the it was the bing bing like bing bing and then he ends. It's so funny.
You guys
Um,
listening on audio are missing a treat right now because Mitchell was
yeah.
doing a little dance and like that he was imitating.
He's getting into it, bro.
He's getting into
Yeah,
it. It's
I
good.
mean, it was so
Oh my
funny.
god.
I watched it twice because the first time was to actually watch it, the second time was just to laugh, and he he's into it. Like that first game against G2 really set the tone where he autos the Ornn instead of the other champion, the Callista with the rock with the explosive charge on him, and he
Mhm.
W's onto the Baron and then flashes and he dies to the Baron, and that just like starts it all. I feel like after that, every single laning phase, he got solo killed or double killed. Um, so I don't know. He's suffering from the Danny problem, right? He's just dying in lane. He's dying to it seems like just Tristana in lane every single game. And then on top of that, he's just having some really weird team fighting decisions where he's either going in too much or not going in it enough, and then kind of just dying randomly. Um, so I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if that's like a mental thing or if he can play better than that or if he's just not he's probably used to being able to skirt team fights with his mechanics and just outshine the players in LCK. But right now at the international tournament, he's just getting caught out. He can't skirt the sides of the team fights and actually like have crazy amounts of DPS. I think he's got to play him slower or have better hands and dodge things. Um, yeah, and I'm just gonna say this because I do watch a lot of the co-streams and I watch a lot of content creators. Um, I wonder how much of this is the ping. I wonder how much
Mm.
of player lag and weird decisions that we've seen people make, and overall just players kind of seeming like they're not playing at their best. The tournament overall has felt a little just strange in general, just with the level of play. Um, I don't know. It's hard not to attribute that to the 35 ping. I do think that who knows? Some of these plays might be working out better, or some of these champions might be not picked, or picked other champions might be picked if it weren't for this 35 ping. So, um, it's maybe it's a little copium because Faker himself came out with an interview saying that the ping's gonna be a big deal. We have to pick different champions, all this stuff, and maybe they're just I don't know. Maybe they're just running it down because of ping. But yeah, T1 not looking too hot.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, go ahead. Go ahead, Kevin.
I was gonna say like, so it could be the ping, but the problem is they're playing against other teams on the same ping, and like
That's true.
it should be somewhat level because you're in some of these situations and like they consistently lost to Saigon Buffalo's bot lane, guys. Like this is the number 2 team for Vietnam, and you're telling me this is the best bot laner in the world. He has
Mm.
Cario, who I do think is probably number 1 or number 2 in the world as support. So like, there's no excuse. Like he's basically to me right now like discount Jackie Love. Jackie Love never had a good support, but he had like super high highs, right, and really low lows.
Yeah.
Imagine if Jackie Love had Carrier as a support. I think he would probably be playing better. It's like, a very easy what if, right? So I don't know. I think that if everyone's playing on 35 ping and like some of those plays, like the Alistar, you can't flash it. I get it. That could be the ping for sure.
Same
But
with the
some of those
Rel
plays,
too.
he's just playing terribly. He's just like
Yeah.
there's anyone on 35 ping above Diamond Elo can react to those. I'm sorry. There's no way that that's a proper excuse to me. It's just some of those boneheaded plays that he's making or his positioning. There's like brain lag involved, not like ping at that point.
I just when you compared him to Jackie Love, I was like, damn, I wish Gumayushi was Gala right now. That would have been so nice. Can they just switch for one series so
Yeah.
that we can actually maybe win against RNG? But it is not the case at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I do think he has been overhyped way too much, or like it's hard to tell. Is it that, or is this just how he was? And we didn't realize that it was going to be like this until he actually shows up in an international
He
stage.
was so much better against Donwell Gaming. He was legit. I think he was legitimately better last year at Worlds. I saw
Wow.
him play. His mechanics were very, very clean. So was his decision making. So I think he got worse. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a tough sign. Because I mean, let's go ahead and talk about this matchup then with T1 and G2, because I think you guys have pretty much hinted to it. Does it seem pretty much like you all are on the mind that G2's got this pretty much in the bag? Yeah. Okay.
I am. I personally am. Caps
I
has a winning record.
hate having to think about that, man, because
Yeah.
I really want Faker to win, man. I really want it to win. And but I mean, to me though, like this could be me being wrong, and I might be the only one. Like I do think T1 will beat G2, because like I just think that as I've seen them through the tournament, I do think it was a little bit of like, hey, wow, this is the first time we're actually playing teams that are, not in the bottom regions, not subs, or whatever. And yeah, yeah, exactly, right. So I mean, I think, yeah, they're actually playing good competition, and the feel that I get from their interviews and whatnot, I do think it was just a wake up call of like, oh, okay, this is what we, there's actually players now. But I think towards the end of this Rumble stage, I do think they improved. I mean, yeah, they lost to G2, but then they beat G2. So they have, I mean, they still ended up second. I think G2 to me is still that inconsistent. Like after seeing them lose 5 games in a row after just winning all 4 games in, the first day, like that to me is just the epitome of inconsistency. And I think T1 is disciplined. I think T1 will just, I don't know. I think they'll have more consistent play and they'll end up pulling the win out. That's just my intuition gut eye test.
Yeah, I mean, I also think T1 is going to win. I was saying like maybe it looks like G2 could win earlier in the podcast, but like really thinking about it, like G2's run of form was really bad. Like they beat EG, right? That's the last thing we remember. But like ostensibly it didn't matter. EG was going to get picked no matter how they showed up in that game. Like they tried, sure, but like it wasn't an important game. And so like okay, sure. But G2 lost to like Saigon Buffalo. Like Saigon Buffalo won 2 games this tournament. One was against PSG, which is the 5th place team, and then one was against G2, and it wasn't even that close, honestly. They looked kind of like outmatched, and it was a game that matters. You can't say they were trolling, okay, guys? Like G2 was this close to getting eliminated. If NA really wanted to, they could have like made this really rough for G2 seeding wise, and they played legitimately because we're a legitimate region, but it was looking bad for them. They lost twice to PSG. PSG barely took games off anyone this tournament. They took 1 off Saigon and 2 off G2. So I think T1's going to win. I think it's going to be a 3-1. I think T1 is better overall. I think Gumayushi will show up in best of 5, relatively speaking, at least. Like he started to get a little bit better throughout the tournament, bar a few blips. But I don't know what happened to G2. They're like Anivia looks crap. Their everything looks kind of crap. Like it's kind of sucky. Honestly, they had a lot of cool pocket picks that aren't working anymore. I do want G2 to win, but I just don't think they will.
Okay, so you're 3-1 T1. I'm going to say the same thing, 3-1 T1. All right, go ahead, Alistair.
So me personally, I'm still leaning towards G2.
Okay.
My heart says Faker. What I would love to see is I would love to see SKT win MSI, win Summer Split, and then win Worlds. Faker retires after the first Grand Slam.
That'd be awesome.
That's what I would love to see. Do I think
Yeah.
it's gonna happen? No, not really. Um, I think G2 is gonna take it 3-2. I'll get that off the bat.
Okay.
I do agree with what you guys have said, but I don't know. I just feel like didn't G2 lose all the games to SKT they played?
Nope.
No, they won the
beat
first
them on
one.
the first day.
Oh, they
Mhm.
won
Yep.
one, right?
They
Yeah.
beat RNG and G2 day 1 or 2.
Day one. Both
Okay,
day one.
right.
Day
Okay,
one.
I'm wrong then. I don't know, I'm still gonna go G2. I think it's close, but I just I don't know. We'll have to see how Gumiusi goes, but that's my
Yeah.
biggest worry.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. I disagree with the sentiment that League Dad you actually said earlier. I don't think T1's disciplined at all. I think they're very undisciplined.
Okay.
I think that they kind of just run in and try to skill check you. And I think G2 does the same thing.
You know, now that you're saying this, I do remember a couple of Baron, like really bad Baron calls against EG.
No,
there.
some of the worst calls in the tournament were
Yeah.
T1 guys. Like,
Yeah.
Take off nameplates. It looks like Saigon Buffalo. Come
Okay,
on.
Mitchell, you got me, but continue.
I just think that they have such big egos from winning so much that they think that they have their own confirmation bias that this is a good play because it works so often for them. God, like starting Baron with the split push comp is just the most troll thing. They did it all the time. They just did it all that they didn't care. They just started Baron with TF and a Gwen and some skirmishers, and it's like this is not a team fighting comp. Isn't even really a comp. You guys just have champions that you're good at, and you're just on the same team. So they're still doing the same thing that they were in LCK, but it's just not working as well anymore. And I do think that it's also a bit of they're just also playing it a bit worse too. So not only is there confirmation bias like holding them back in terms of they think that these plays are good, they're also executing a bit worse than they normally would too. So it's kind of a bit of a double whammy. I think with G2, yeah, they lost 5 games in a row, and it's pretty bad. And like they're both coming into this match on a bit of a low, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, which one can we knock down a bit more?
Uh-huh.
And I I think with G2, honestly, if both teams are kind of down and like in the dumps, and it is to that sort of undisciplined, sort of wilder style, I just have to give it to G2, right? I do think it's going to be a 3-2, and it's going to be really scrappy. It's going to be really hype and really like I'm not really sure who's winning right now, but people are dying and things are fighting, and then G2 is going to come out and randomly win. Because that's just kind of how those games go, right? I do think that against really good disciplined teams with like that have a lot of just solid game plans, which RNG minus Bin seems to be more on the side of. Yeah, G2 doesn't seem that favored in that area, and I think if T1 they were on that discipline side, right? If they did come into the tournament and their confirmation bias is stuck and they actually were able to outplay everybody, yeah, I don't know. I think T1 would just win the whole thing, right? But they're getting caught up in their own mechanical misplays, and it just seems like that you know, I'm not gonna say that Gumayushi's not gonna die again in lane randomly. I'm not gonna say that Zeus, and Owner aren't just gonna go in for these really flashy, crazy plays and not be able to outplay people. I think it's gonna happen. I think that the all three of those things are gonna continue to happen for SKT like they have all year long. But they're just not gonna be able to outplay them as well. So, yep, G2 3-2,
Okay.
and yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to thank T1 for creating some great memes though. Kyria after day 1 was like, we're like, was it they lost their one game, right? So they're like, yeah, we're gonna go 9-1 from now on. Like G2 had our number or whatever, but like there's no way we would ever drop a game to anyone else in the group. And then like the meme keeps on going like G2 and RNG, and then G2 RNG and EG as like a meme, and then it actually happened, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. I also wanted to highlight like Zeus or Zeus or whatever his name is. Like he played quite well, I think, in some games and quite bad in some games. But his builds are some of the most atrocious things I've ever seen. His GP went Triforce, Hullbreaker, Ken Punk Chainsword. I don't even know what the argument is for Chainsword over the crit
Oh,
version of it. And then DD
They're
or
both
Last
they're both
Whisper
bad items. Yeah,
in
they're
2
both bad
games in a row.
items.
And not only did he do that, he never split push for more than a minute continuously. He always grouped with that garbage build. I was actually dying. Okay, like I cannot believe that he thought this was a good
I
build.
can
He
tell,
just,
man. I see the vein popping out your neck when you're.
I mean, did you guys watch how like
Yeah.
awful those items are? Like you watched GP on Impact, right? Where he was
Mhm.
just hard carrying that game
One-shotting
against
everybody.
T1, and I'm like, there you go. You built crit. You built the crit. What is it called? Mortal Reminder? No. What's the one that
Yeah,
stops you from healing on the crit side? Okay,
it's
Mortal
Mortal
Reminder.
Reminder. Yeah,
Yeah, and
it's a
I'm
pretty
like,
bad item, but he built
it's
it.
not a good item, but it's better than Kempunk Chainsword. Like, what are you
Yes.
gonna do with that?
Maybe they look
That's
similar.
tough,
Maybe
yeah.
he just got confused.
Yeah.
2 games in a row, and then the
Yes.
third
One's a bow,
game
one's a sword.
he built Triforce Maw, which isn't as terrible, but like he went Triforce Maw at Dirk, and I promise you that Dirk was not going to Collector. He was gonna build something awful. He's gonna
It's
get you
probably
like,
a Serpent Fang.
oh, that might be
He's
it.
going for the non-crit bruisery builds, and yeah, I don't know. Wait for durability patch, man. This just doesn't work right now. I feel
I can't,
like.
I can't wait for him to. I just can't wait for him to get punished in the best of 5 with those builds.
That's funny.
Dude, that's some like Mitchell level of bad builds, man. It's just like building tank when you really shouldn't be building tank. That
Nah,
was
bro,
some bad
that's the
stuff.
next Voy Boy video.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I
Oh my god, he's
Playing.
doing it for the
chain
tuber.
sword.
Oh my god.
He did it for the tubes. Yeah. Those okay, by the way though, guys, those anti-heal items, I mean, those are actually just the worst. Like, don't ever build them. I know sometimes
Unless
you
you're an
feel like you may
enchanter.
want to yeah, no, build the only good one is the enchanter one. I
Putrefier.
forget what it's called.
Putrefier is
Future
really
Fire.
good.
That's the only good anti-heal item. Oh, and I think Thornmail is decent too. The Morellos, Kimpunk Chainsword, and the Mortal Reminder are
Mortal
all really
Reminder.
crap, guys. Don't build them. If you have to build them, they better have a ton of healing. You better have it justified because I mean the games that Bin was or not Bin, Zeus was building them. It didn't feel like there was like an exorbitant amount of healing, right? So it felt like he could have just skipped that and someone else could have built healing reduction. And
They're
Mm.
getting even
or
worse next patch as well, by the way.
yeah, they're gonna
With
be
their
worse.
ability.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
the grievous wounds gets nerfed, and then their stats are just not good as an item. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's. I know we already talked about G2 and RNG, but we didn't give our game predictions. So let's.
EGRG, man.
I mean, yeah, sorry, EG RNG. Yep. I mean,
Mm.
I'm just gonna say it. I really do think we will win one game. So I'm giving it 3-1 RNG. I think, and I also it's also hopium. Let's be real. But I just want the culmination of our hard work, to go through all of this. I would love for them to just pull one win, and then we could say we beat both China and Korea, in one tournament.
Just
Like
like
last
that.
year, except we actually, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like last year, except we actually made it to group to the
They,
final.
exactly.
Yeah, we didn't end 3-7 in a stage.
Yes.
Good God. I'm gonna say it's 3-0 RNG, guys. I'm sorry. If Danny was playing well, there was a chance he could hyper carry, but Gala is looking like he wasn't even the best AD carry in China, guys. He was like behind Light Photic and what's this called? He was behind Light Photic and someone else. But anyways, he wasn't looking. He was like top 3, top 4 best.
Mm.
So like this is a problem, guys. He's looking really good. He won MSI last year. Like this, there's no nerves on G2's RNG side except for maybe
RNG.
Ben, right? Who wasn't on this team before. This they've won MSI twice with 2 of the same players, right? It, I I'm sorry. There's no EG is great at beating down, but they've only won 1 game, and it's against T1. So
Mhm.
that usually is a qualifier, but the T1 they beat was made like Dignitas level plays. Like they
Oh
look like
man.
NA.
Ouch.
I'm sorry. I want them to win. If they do, I'm happy, but like it won't happen.
Yeah. You're a
And I
realist.
hope I'm wrong.
you're
I'm
a
in the same
realist.
boat as Kevin. I'm
Yeah.
3-0. I think one game will be. I think 1 or 2 games might be close, but I think I think the series score is going to be one-sided. I think it will be 3-0.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You guys are boosted, man. It's
Right?
so clearly the 2019 script. We're 3-1ing them. Hello?
Let's go.
It's
The
gonna be
only
3-1.
the only way 2019 could happen is if we do the same predictions from 2019. The All In podcast was like really against TL, and then look at what happened.
True.
Did we
We're
even
setting
do
it up.
See,
Did
the
we do a
script doesn't
podcast?
work if
I
you
don't remember
reference the
Yeah, we
script,
did.
Mitchell.
The podcast is
Yeah.
3 years
Remember
old
the
now, so
script?
we started in 2019.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Well,
Mitchell,
you know,
the script doesn't work if you reference the script.
that's
that's
true.
just not true, man. We referenced the script so many times that EG wasn't gonna do a G2 run, and then they actually did the miracle run in lower
True.
bracket. So I feel like that doesn't
That's true.
count.
That's true. So we're doing the perfect script. Reference the
Yeah.
script, and then it happens.
It's a script within a script.
It's a script with it's you know
Man,
it's just too
it's
many
a
layers.
science, man. Wow.
It's too many layers. I'm you know you guys are all against it. I'm gonna just be for I don't care. I am 3-1 EG.
I love
think
it.
they're gonna win it.
3-1? You serious?
Yeah, I think Bin is gonna run it down so hard. He's gonna
Let's
think,
go.
look at these NA scrubs. I'm gonna save all of my power, all of my energy for G2 or T1, and he's gonna run it down, man. And then you know what? Danny's gonna get a pentakill and steal Baron. I literally don't care.
Let's
He's gonna do
go.
it. He's gonna do it. And you know what? Vulcan, he's still gonna int, but whatever. We're gonna take it. We're gonna take it. We're just gonna keep it going.
At least it's still somewhat realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Vulcan's
right.
gonna int. But hey, inspired. I actually think it's kind of hard to say because both Yankos and Owner have had some pretty solid showings. Oh, and Wei actually, when he's not on Volibear, pretty solid showings. Inspired still feels like he's probably one of the most consistent junglers. I think not maybe as high highs. As Owner had that really crazy Viego play right, but I don't know. It does feel like Inspired has been the least inty jungler. And I like that. I like that a lot. That's great to have as a North American team.
For sure.
JoJo, like you said, is ramping up. I totally agree. If you look at day one, game one against G2 versus his last maybe 2 to 3 games, totally different player. He's playing super, super well, way more confidently. I mean, if he can come in and be really confident against Xiaohu, right? And if we can not give freaking Xiaohu Ari, whoever thought it was a good idea to give Xiaohu Ari is stupid. Fire the draft coach. Don't do that.
Yeah, but you also can't give him Galio and like you just go down the
No.
list.
Give him Galio. Okay, I'm okay with Galio. I think Galio,
Really?
yeah, really strong global, but not as good as a champion right now as Ari. Ari is just a very, very good champion.
I would agree. I don't think
just
Galio's
don't
that
give him
good.
Ari. Yeah, Galio's okay. I mean, obviously, what he brings to the table in terms of his kit is fine, but his actual champion, I mean, dude, the dude builds AP and he doesn't do damage, so I don't know. Like, yeah. So I think we could do it. You know, put him on Galio and give me. I don't know. Just you know, I don't know. Just don't die. Just win. I guess it's fine. Some good reasoning.
I would just like to see EG just straight up let Danny go Jinx, man. Like I just don't think that
I actually think.
Okay,
we take
go
away
ahead.
Kaisa. I think we take away Kaisa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
maybe we go Jinx, but I think there's too many things you gotta ban, and so just don't give over Kaisa
Mhm.
and just take it yourselves. And for the love of God, this has pissed me off the entire tournament. Stop blind picking Ezreal.
Yes.
Like, Jesus
Yes.
Christ, dude.
I was
Oh
just
my
thinking
God.
that.
The blind pick Ezreal's like I think it always
I
lost.
hate
It's
it.
always lost. Like it's so bad.
Yeah.
And Callista. Oh my God, that shit's terrible.
Yeah. A point I
That's
wanted
cool.
to make, which is really weird, is I feel like this tournament had some of the highest like low ping character involvement in a while. Like I saw Yasuo, I saw Ezreal, which is also a low ping character. I don't think Kalista has much, but like
She is.
Yasuo.
No, she 100%
She,
is.
I think
Oh,
Callista
she has
is a
too.
very
But
low,
like the
low
prior
ping,
went up
yeah.
on them. Like compared to
Yeah.
playoffs, or like regional playoffs until now, these characters were played more often. Like we saw Yasuo multiple times. We saw characters that were
Yeah.
extremely high execution. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, people are making all these excuses about ping, which I think are actually legitimate in a lot of cases, especially for 80 carries, right? Where the edge was so close. But yet the prio was like, it felt like it was ignoring the fact that they were playing on ping. It made no sense. Like people are saying, oh, we are playing as if like we're adjusting our drafts, right? Or whatever. And I'm like, there was 22 games of Ezreal. What do you mean you're adjusting for this? Like
Mhm.
people are picking Lee Sin, they're picking like all these super high mechanical characters. Like you saw that play from Owner, it was insane. It was
It was
on 35
sick.
ping. It was insane though. Like they lost, but it was an insane play.
Yeah.
I don't think the ping was that big of a deal. GP is one of the most popular
Yeah.
characters, and like, yes, it's also hard to dodge per se, but the chaining is actually like a very precise input that you need to be
Well,
good at.
okay, so I actually watched a Solar Baka guide, and I watched him talk about ping and stuff, and that
Mm-hmm.
actually with GP, if as long as the ping is consistent, you can always get the okay. I think the first problem is that GP pros don't one part. The one part combo is pretty much you barrel outside your Q range, and
Mm-hmm.
then as you walk up, your Q auto,
Yeah.
then you get another barrel. It's really
The
fast, hard
ghost
to
barrel,
dodge.
same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pros don't really do that, but still, that combo, as long as you get used to it, you can do it on any ping. So I actually
Mm-hmm.
think the onus is harder for the opponent if the ping is higher because it's so fast that on zero ping you might have that react. You might be able to dodge it with a dash or something, reaction timing, but dude, GP barrels are really fast, and if you can get the one part combo super consistently on any ping, I actually think the onus is on the opponent to dodge it, and it's harder the higher the ping is. So I think GP is actually favored in lower ping environments in those scenarios with barrels. I
Okay,
think with other
that
stuff,
is fair
obviously,
because I didn't think
yeah,
about that. But like
yeah,
all the other ones, I don't see what the excuses. Like you're picking Ezreal, like you're
yeah. No,
playing it on the
that's
Knight's
just
Edge all the
hard.
time,
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm
just
just like,
tough.
how is he the second most picked 80 carry period, and yet the ping is like breaking your kneecaps? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a little bit of pro copium there.
It's literally just self handicapping.
Yeah, but they're
It's
doing it over and over. They
no, literally,
lost, and they're
literally
still
all it
doing
comes
it.
down to is they're gonna pick these high execution champions. If it goes well, they get uh all the
Confirmation bias.
hype in conversation, like,
Oh,
oh, look at what I did in 35 ping. If they int, oh, it was 35 ping. It's
Yeah.
whatever. That's literally what it comes down to. Like, there's no
so
reason to not pick
stupid.
it. I
Yeah,
agree.
just play Kai'Sa or Tristana, man. I honestly, I don't know why we started picking Callista out of freaking nowhere.
I mean,
That
Kallista's
champ
not even
is
a real champ, dude. I don't
that
know what you're
Not
champ
talking
is
Every
so
time
about.
Calista
bad.
was
It's
picked, I
so
was like, oh,
terrible.
when T1 picked Calista, I'm like, oh, we win. Oh, we win.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think the only time that Callista looked good was when G2 picked it, and it was because he just chucked in Diana. That was the only reason why Callista was good. She's literally an R bot. Otherwise, it's like God, that champ does no damage. That champ's laning phase is really, really overhyped, very overrated. It's a decent laning
It's
phase,
good.
but I mean, what are you gonna do with all your gold? You just
Yeah.
tank. You just tank with shield bow. That's about it. That's all you do. You land a couple autos in a queue, maybe a slow rend, and then you're just a damage sponge for shield bow. It really felt like all Callistas just. Good thing you're tanky because that's all you do. You're just soaking up damage. You're not actually doing anything.
Yeah.
So that champ
Well,
is bad,
was there anything
bad.
else in the meta that you were surprised to see, or were there any fun drafts that you saw that you liked? Anything in particular, just about the meta overall? I know we just talked about Callista, Ari being super strong, Gangplank. I just wish I could play that champion because I can't do any combos, but it looks
Yeah.
super fun when I watch it in games and stuff, seeing all that damage. But yeah, any other stuff in the meta that you wanted to point out?
Yeah, so quick things. We were right. NA was right at least. Ornn is good. Like it
Yep.
just looked like a solid pick. Like all the stuff that NA was doing, like late game team fighting, just like picking these solid things, it ended up just overpowering the better regions, right? And yeah, it's still not the highest pick rate, but it's still third highest. That's pretty damn good. I also wanted to highlight that the confirmation bias about like Nautilus being a garbage character because of how bad teams were playing it versus like the best teams. Like Nautilus looked pretty dang good. Like Ming went 5-0 this tournament with it, and
Mm-hmm.
Kerio went 3-0. Like I don't think Nautilus is bad per se. I just think it actually requires like it's weird because the kit's so simple, but execution, like a Vulcan Nautilus or a Wildcard Nautilus versus like the top team Nautilus, it's night and day. It looks
Mm-hmm.
absolutely broken, right? Like Danny like
Yeah.
got his knees broken. He was 3-0 Ezreal and he just got destroyed by a Nautilus hook. It's so sad to watch. And then the last one I want to highlight was I thought it was really interesting that Kaisa came up. Like it just feels like every Worlds like we just forget about or every MSI we forget about Kaisa, and then Gala last MSI as well. Like he just picked Kaisa, and no matter what, no matter how much we told him it was not a good character, he picked it, and he just kind of warped the meta around him. And I think Kaisa's in a better spot this year, but even so, going in, no one was like Kaisa hype. You know, it wasn't like early on everyone was picking Kaisa. It was like once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Kai'Sa is interesting. I do think that it's a bit of a testament to like all the other ADCs got hit a lot right
That's
before
also true.
going into MSI. Um, but yeah, uh, I'm not gonna say I love Kaisa or I think she is the best ADC right now. But I definitely as a Kaisa hater earlier on, I think she's a bit better. I think I underestimated how good the Kraken PD build was gonna be. It is actually a lot better than I thought. I thought it was kind of like whatever, but it's pretty good. And I just think that players are really good at it because it's a really fun hype champion, and people have been since she came out. A lot of people have a ton of games on it. So I hope that at least for Danny, we can take it away from Gala. The champions that I would like to pinpoint that are kind of sad, and I wish they worked out better, were is the Kennen and the Vlad.
Yeah.
Um, they have terrible win rates. They're honestly just not that good right now. And I think they're like attempted counter picks into Gwen and stuff, and because you can kind of get into her little circle and still kill her. But yeah, I don't know. I just think those are the champions are just too old. It's literally like a 2022 diff or 2021 diff. Like those champions are as good as they might be. They both got really big buffs, I think, going into MSI. It's just not it's just not enough. It's kind of sad, right? Because I do think if you go back to 2019, back to MSI, right? I do think we saw a lot of Kennen and Nico and a little bit of
Yeah.
Vlad back then, and then those are actually some of the better champions to play in top lane. And you know what? Impact is a great Kennen, and he's an okay Vlad. So would have been cool
I
to
wonder
see.
if it I wonder if it has to do with how teams have been picking more kind of split side lane stuff with like the Galio and the TF and kind of playing the map as opposed to just straight 5v5 team fight comps. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if that might be the case, but it seems like that kind of we do kind of see that battle going on during the tournament.
I think it's a little bit of that, but also Mav Mortius is such a broken item too
True.
that
Yeah.
it's hard to get in there. Also, just like yeah, team fights are definitely less organized in this meta in this tournament. It definitely feels
Hmm.
like um, team fighting comps they're not like full on. We just stand as five. Like there is a bit like like a mix of skirmishing that mixed into the team fight 5v5, where it's like instead of just a straight up 5v5, it's like two skirmishes that are close to each other, more of right. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I still think like conceptually, Kennen at least should still be a good champion. He just probably doesn't have the numbers to back him up, is what I'm guessing. Like, cause he doesn't dominate laning phase. That's usually like one of his benefits is he not only dominates laning phase but goes into team fights with a gold advantage and can wipe people. But he doesn't seem to be
Mhm.
doing that. He's not winning laning phases. So 7 games and not really done much. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the big issues with Kennen is like, first of all, there's so much sustain just inherently in top lane when you look at a lot of the champions that are being played right now. A lot of them
Yeah.
just have healing in their kit. And even then, like, I mean, the best example I can come up with is like Kennen used to be a hard counter into Renekton, but that eventually flipped with the new rune system because you just take Doran's shield and conditioning, and then Kennen can't do anything to you.
Yeah.
You just out sustain. I also think you did mention it, Mitchell, that Mal Mortius is a big deal because putting AP in your top lane makes it so you pretty much have to have AP in both of your solo lanes. So
Yeah.
just go Merc Dreads and Mob. But I think the
Oh.
biggest issue, I personally don't think Mob by itself is that broken. I think it's strong. I think the issue is the fact that you can stack it with Death Stance.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I mean, Death
You're
Stance is the
super
most broken
versatile.
item in the game, and it's not close.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
don't think that's really up for debate personally. And being able to stack that with another MR item when usually people doing magic damage tend to be more burst oriented,
yeah,
like especially someone like Kennen or Vladimir. Once they use everything and then you pop a shield and they just heal everything back, it's like, oh, well, no, my champ sucks.
yep. Very true. Yeah, Death Dance, Ma, crazy combo, and then once you get later on, Force of Nature is also one of the strongest items in the game
Yeah.
too.
Synergizes
Per
super well.
percent damage reduction for magic users is just like okay cool I don't get to play the game fun. So yeah, sad to see. I mean those are fun champions. I wish they were good. They're always hyped to see, but I think if we're looking at wombo combos, yeah, we're just gonna stick to GP and Wukong and stuff. But I do think it's amazing that Ornn is so good when Gwen and GP are the two best top laners right now.
Hmm.
Those are like hard Ornn counters, by the way. one of the hardest Ornn counters out there. I mean, minus like a Trundle, right? So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Ornn is strong. Ornn is
Yeah.
good. And you know what? Impact, take Ornn. I want you to clap Bin. Okay, he's gonna play Chameleon.
Jin and
Clap.
Ornn. Draft Jin and Ornn. I mean, not Jin.
I don't-
Jinx and Ornn.
Jinx.
Yeah.
Jinx. Yeah.
Jinx and Ornn.
Yeah. Just pray.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, I really wanted to highlight Nocturne as a jungler. Is one of my
Oh,
favorite
yes.
characters to
Yeah,
play.
yeah,
True.
he's
I think the Nocturne play has been. It came out like in the latter half of Rumble stage, and I think the Nocturne play has been super inspired, but like super like great. It's just super creative. Like you saw the win, that EG versus T1 win. Like a lot of there were some comms that were put out later on, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna Nocturne out you, and then Jojo Pion can like come around the Baron pit and just completely wreck their faces, right? And it's just crazy how well they just like randomly took out the Nocturne pick. Both RNG and EG are 2-0 on Nocturne this tournament, and every time they've used it, it's looked really intelligent. Like,
yeah.
yeah, they might have wasted a few ults, but when they get to the late game team fights, like it's the the coordination with the Nocturne is so fun to watch. And like sometimes they build anathemas, and I'm just like, oh, the 80 carry is gonna cry today. I can't wait.
You see
Oh,
Nocturne locked, you're already crying as an AD carry,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
The
It
the
doesn't even
combo
matter
was
if you're the one getting jumped on or not.
the combo was
I
anathema
can't
spear
see.
into GP ult, and then the 80 carry. I think it was Guma Yusi just died from 100 to 0. Like he just literally didn't play the game the whole time.
Yeah.
I think it's sick. I love Nocturne as like the upsets character. Like whenever when Gigabyte Marines got that big upset way back when, where they picked Nocturne and just
Oh
like
yes.
yeah, it's
Against
just so
Fnatic.
awesome to see when it
Yeah.
works because it's high risk. So I give a shout out to that. It's probably gonna snipe a win in playoffs.
Nocturne certainly makes me upset when I say locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guma
I
Yushi's
just-
like, no, not Nocturne, please no.
Bro, no, you think Guma Yusi? What about Berserker?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
It's the NA special. Wait, NA was right. We were ahead of the meta,
NA
guys.
was right.
Rip.
Let's go,
Oh
Golden
my
Guardians.
God. Let's go.
You see Nocturne ults and you just can't hit anything for 6 seconds as the person who's supposed to be doing the most damage. I hate it so much.
Dude,
It's so
Nocturne and
infuriating.
former T180 carries, or just current and former T180 carries.
Did you
just-
see
Easy.
the one where it was inspired, and I think it's PSG, and they had Vex, and when Vex would ult, like they would Nocturne ult, and she couldn't like
Oh yeah. she
activate it
did.
again. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
she
did.
that was so awesome. Like how
Genius.
mad must you be? Like gosh, that's so
You're just
dumb.
like, this is an interaction. I've ever actually seen this interaction.
Yeah.
Someone plays Vex.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Which
also
is
think it's
surprising to me.
yeah, it is surprising. I think the interesting thing with Nocturne though is like we shifted away from J4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because J4 are really good into Aphelios Jinx. They don't have dashes, you can't get out, right? So, but then as soon as we have Kai'Sa, Lucian, Ezreal, now we need something that J4's not as good. So you have Nocturne. You just have
Yep.
point and click instead. I think it's so funny how we've evolved from J4 to Nocturne to just screw over the next generation of ADCs.
Let's go.
It's
Isn't that
really
always
funny.
the goal though? Like to
Yeah.
just screw over the ADC? Like
It doesn't matter if
Yeah.
you win or lose. You just have
Yeah.
to make sure the AD carry does not have
yes.
fun.
Don't have
Yes.
fun.
Yeah,
Don't
don't
I'm
have
not,
fun.
I'm not saying that as a salty AD carry main. I'm saying that as the person when I off roll, I make that my job.
Yeah.
I don't care if I
what-
win or lose. I'm just going to kill the enemy AD carry as much as I possibly can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun. I also love the anathemas, so it reduces, I don't know, reduces their tenacity. It makes CC longer, right?
Yes.
So if you put it on the ADC and you do get the fear off, such a great little interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
AD
just
carries
so
just
smart,
get
dude.
so much tenacity in their builds.
Yeah, it's so funny. They just can't play the game.
Dude, I love that build. That build's so degen.
It's so funny. Yeah, so I do like Nocturne. I think it's gonna be great. Viego is still quite good. Obviously, the most
Mhm.
picked. Not the best win rate, but God, I still think it's the most broken jungler. I just wish people would play Viego comps. It does feel like people just put Viego in as like kind of just like a jungler that fits into any comp sort of thing. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that ubiquitous. He's not like a J4 Lee Sin where you kind of or Xin Zhao, right? Where you kind of can just throw him into any comp and he's good. I do think Viego still the most broken champion in the game. You do need to kind of build a comp around him for him to fully succeed. Because it feels like there's a lot of Viegos just kind of running around and being like, dude, I can't get in this fight. I'm just CC'd and I died. I can't get a reset. Like I just can't because your W range is very short, right? It's so hard for you'd actually just get jumping around unless it's like you're against like 4 melees, right? So I wish that if you're gonna play Viego or if you're gonna early pick it, that you kind of build your comp around him. And if you can do that, I think it's the most broken strategy in the game. That champ is not balanced.
I mean, Wei's best character this season, regular season, he's also 4-1. Is Viego.
Yeah.
That's like he inted on Volibear and he was very good at Viego, and that's why RNG is probably favored. There's just so many super power picks like Kaisa, Viego, and I don't think Gwen's been that good, but they at least love to play it. Like there's just so many things that they love to play that are just some of the best in the meta currently, right? So it's just hard to ban them out, and it's really cursed.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else about the meta or anything else in general? We've covered pretty much everything, unless there's any other topics you guys wanted to talk about before we wrap things up. Good. All right. I think that's the first time nobody's had any. We covered it.
I have something.
Okay, Mitchell's got. I knew it.
Something.
I knew it.
EG is gonna win. They're gonna 3-1 RNG, and you know what? I'm gonna keep the prediction going. We're gonna 3-0 G2 in the finals.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about our finals match.
That's
our
true.
Finals prediction. I just did it.
He just did it.
3-0 G2. Okay, and then we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna go undefeated in regular season of summer. We're gonna go undefeated in playoffs, and we're gonna win worlds. EG's gonna win worlds, guys. JoJo.
Keep
Wow.
it going, and then we're gonna
Keep it
sell
going.
most of the EG roster to Liquid, and then fall
Yeah.
off.
And then fall off.
And then Liquid will get second place. All of 2023. They'll go 3-3 in groups and not make it out.
Oh,
Well, I guess that's true. So Mitchell actually did make his projection because he did predict G2 to win. So let's do that. You know, go ahead, Kevin. What's your finals then?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be SKT RNG. It's a very historic matchup, and I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be. I do want Faker to at least win, like in recent era, right? But I think logically, everything I've said is just pointing to RNG wins. It's gonna be a 3-2. It's gonna be close.
Wow.
I mean, how
I
can
would
they
agree
win
with that.
3-2 if they're not gonna make it to finals, guys? Like what?
So I think
That's
I'm
just how good they are.
RNG. I'm gonna go 3-1 RNG.
Oh, wow.
I just tying it back to the bot lanes.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to for me. I
Yeah.
will say if G2 makes to finals, RNG is gonna 3-0 them and keep the streak alive.
Oh no!
Get a head start for LEC season where they go 0-18.
Yeah.
No.
If G2 does beat T1, I really hope, just for the meme value, that RNG just 3-0s them, just so we can keep the.
Oh my
just so
god,
we
a
can keep
classic!
the
Actually, a
EU
classic.
Finals.
No,
we didn't bring this up, but
man.
G2 always helps out the Chinese team. So you know it is. Oh no, I'll still stick with the T1 vote, but it would be so funny.
Yeah.
Dude, if RNG 3-0s G2, Caps will have literally gotten 3-0'd by like every LPL team that's ever won. Like the FPX, freaking IG, and then it's terrible, man.
He hasn't been 3-0'd by EDG yet, so
that's true.
There you go.
Because he didn't make it.
Yeah, that's true.
He wasn't there.
He never won against EDG in that year. Yes, you're right.
Man, I really want Faker to win. I really want him to win.
I do too.
So, well, look, I'm gonna will it.
Great. Like most of these teams winning except RNG, I guess, is a good as result. Even though I want.
You know what, guys? I'll allow it. Okay, I'll let Faker. He can come on to EG. He can replace Vulcan. I'm okay with it.
Just off roll it.
Oh my goodness!
For the next couple of weeks. We're chilling, guys. Just hop on.
I do not ever want to see Faker in support. I never ever want to see that.
NA? Come on.
I don't care if he's
have the
playing
timeline.
anywhere.
I've got the timeline.
Okay.
So here's what happens, right? EG and SKT make it to finals. SKT wins after a 5-game banger, and then proceeds to win the Grand Slam for the first time ever. Faker retires and then comes to EG to be a positional coach directly for
JoJo.
Oh! And then NA Faker is born, and we win the next World Championship.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude.
That's the timeline.
I like your
Faker-
timeline.
Yeah.
I like
Faker
that
comes
one,
out,
Alistair.
He gives an interview and he says North America was the best region all along.
Oh,
we
yes.
win worlds.
I like this storyline. Let's just
Alright,
stay here.
I'm down for that.
Let's
I'm down for
marinate
that.
here for a little bit. Man, that's just a
Crazier
nice.
things have happened, you know.
Yeah.
And then
LS
we have a
came over
North
for
American-
3 weeks.
We have a North American dynasty, okay? We win every world championship for the next like 5 years. And then in the 4th year though, Team Liquid they finally win. 4th year. They win the 4th
Just
North
once and then
American
they-
championship.
You're wrong, Mitchell. The 4th year, Doublelift comes out of retirement and then doesn't make it out of groups.
On TSM.
That's on
Just make it
TSM though.
better.
That's on TSM. That's on TSM. And then on TL though, they win.
All right,
get
leave that.
4th.
Before we go off the rails, tell us your prediction, please.
Well, I was just thinking first. I think at that point, Doublelift owns TSM at that point.
Oh.
And he's-
Doublelift and Lena are the CEOs of TSM.
yeah, CSO. Yeah, that's.
What if he
Wow.
owns TSM, subs himself in at Worlds, and doesn't get out of groups?
And then everybody is just like, bring back Reggie. We missed Reggie.
Oh, man.
no.
Oh
I think
no.
you're getting a little too far with that one, Mitchell.
Okay,
Wow.
yeah, never mind.
We went ham. We went ham on that tangent. But I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna will it into existence. Faker, I believe in you, Senpai. 3-2 T1 over RNG. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's
If
what
T1
I'm doing.
if T1 beats G2 and they make it to finals, 3-0 EG baby. They're gonna 3-0 T1 also. So
Nice.
it doesn't matter who's making it to finals. EG's gonna 3-0 them.
Yes.
And
that's
then
true.
Danny's gonna get 4 pentagills. Yep.
Wow.
What?
Well,
2 in
I-
semis, 2 in finals. Yep.
I think we've pretty much spoken all of that into the universe, and so maybe
It's
one of
out
those
there
will
now.
latch. Maybe one of those latch, or it's in the alternate timeline. Who knows what happens? But any final thoughts? Actual
Yeah.
thoughts, not dream thoughts.
Final actual thought. If RNG wins this weekend, I think it's time to discuss Ming being the best support of all time, and Xiaohu being the best non-Korean player, or mid of all time, at least. I think
Yeah.
Ming
The
deserves
best
some
not
credit, dude.
faker of all time.
Yeah.
No, I think you would still probably have to give it to like an Uzi or like some Korean player. Like I think they still have been around long enough. But like Ming has been around since 2015 with like
Long time.
or no 2016 maybe with Uzi and with a bunch of rosters, and he's just always looked very good no matter what. Like RNG is so consistent for a reason, and like part of it Xiaohu, who also gets a lot of credit for winning in 2 positions, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then it's got to be Ming. I actually can't think of another support who's been relevant for this long except for Mako, who won Worlds,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
also an argument, right? But
That could
no
be.
one else has been good at this level as a support. Like we've had God supports in Korea who are better, like Karya, or what's his name again? Who was the
Yeah.
support for Dongwon?
Barrel.
Barrel?
No, I don't think he was on that list. Never mind. I was thinking of
Yeah, he's
somebody
not
else.
that good. Maybe Mata? Maybe
No, I was
Mata.
thinking of Lehens. I think it was Lehens back when Griffin was really
Lehens is
hyped.
pretty good, yeah.
He was
Lehens is
pretty good, right? But they just
Um,
never go for longer than a year or two. But Ming has been here for like 6. I think at some point this guy gets some credit.
Yeah.
Nah, if RNG, like in real talk, if RNG wins MSI, it's just gonna be I'm just gonna vote LPL every freaking
Mhm.
international tournament. They're just
Until
too
the
good.
next international tournament.
I started already on the trend already. I
Yeah.
like voted for EDG last year, right?
yeah.
Can't favor them
I
over
think this
Ganwon.
podcast has low key been an LPL like
Yeah.
podcast for like at least a couple splits now, because we were like,
Yeah.
I don't know why EDG would win, but I think EDG or LPL is gonna win. You voted first, right?
Yeah, I
And
voted
then-
EDG before the tournament started, which is just insane to me. I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, looking back, that is the craziest like hit in
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah. But I mean, we call it almost every time. I think a lot of us vote LPL, and it almost always
Yeah.
works out.
Yeah.
So this is not bad. This is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, I think that this will be the first time that yeah, RNG or SKT they're not going to win, and UG will win, and then
Yeah.
the
History.
LPL talk will sort of fall down because we'll start to think NA is
History.
the best region after this, and we'll just have to go into Worlds with we just have to
Imagine going to
have normal
Worlds in
expectations.
NA as the reigning champion of an international
Oh
tournament.
my gosh.
We
All right,
win.
y'all
We
are
win.
getting my head in
We
the
win whole
clouds.
thing.
all
Holy
3 of our North American teams, we make it to semifinals. We play each other in the semifinals, and we make it to finals. It's North America versus North America in the finals.
Wait,
Team
if we
Liquid
win
versus
MSI,
EG.
do we get a 4th seed automatically, or does it have to be like a longer term?
I believe so. I think if you make it to, I think the 2 teams that make it to finals get a 4th seed. No, pretty sure that's how it works.
Maybe.
Oh,
Hell
maybe.
yeah!
I thought it was based off like a 2-year record or some crap
Or
like
maybe
that. I don't know.
actually it might be.
I'll will
it
it
might
into
have to do with last
existence.
Worlds.
If NA gets it,
Will
Riot will make
it?
a ruling saying we get a 4th seed.
Yeah. It's
Screw the
gonna
other
be
regions.
NA versus NA in both semifinals, guys. If we have
Okay.
4 seeds, that's what's gonna happen.
Let's
Those are gonna
throw
be
that in.
stacked.
Let's throw that in the
Okay,
universe too.
let's end it off
I like
before
that.
Mitchell starts saying that.
Plus, like, this is too good to be true. Y'all are just gonna get me too
Hey,
hyped. So
we do so much crap out there that something's gonna be true. Like
something.
double
One of those has.
TSM,
We just got.
I could see that happening someday.
Exactly.
Niles and Fake God are gonna come back and make a team and win Worlds.
All right, now I don't believe it. Now it's
No,
now
no,
I
no,
really
no,
don't
cut
believe it anymore.
Cut the tape there.
I know the hopium
Thank
was good
God.
until that point, and then now I'm just like, all
If it
right,
doesn't happen, we blame Mitchell.
yeah,
right,
exactly.
well,
You just
yeah.
ruined it. You just willed the wrong thing in existence.
We're
Okay,
so close to NA winning Worlds, guys. I'm sorry.
I'm wrapping this show up. Daggone it. All right. Well, I want to thank my awesome co-host Kevin Mitchell Alistair for not only talking about stats and all that good stuff and trends, but willing all this good stuff into existence. So I can't wait until we see it all happen. This Friday starts RNG EG, and then Saturday we have T1 versus G2, and then the finals will be on Sunday, May 29th. But again, thank you all for listening. Enjoy your climb on the Rift. Try not to be too toxic, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Peace.
Go Egg.